AJ, is your favorite anime Naruto?
No. Why?
Because Uzumaki me
Have
horny.
you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn. Uh, yeah.
All right, Jay. So we're going to talk about the big three. You sent me the article the other day from Anime News Center about the return of the big three in the 2023, which has stirred a little bit of controversy. Uh, Anime News Center is saying the big three are Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer, and Jujutsu Kaisen. The biggest issue is that uh, fanboys are kind of up in arms about it, and mainly because the big three historically is One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach. Uh, Jay, do you want to describe what the history of the big three are?
Yeah. The big three, as they were originally coined, was because Bleach, Naruto, One Piece were at the time early mid 2000s the most popular and best-selling manga in the Shonen Jump magazine in Japan. Um, they were very popular. They made a lot of money. Therefore, they were coined the big three. Some even say that they saved the magazine at the time, because they weren't doing that great in other areas. So these three shows, manga, have uh kind of transformed into something else among people. When you hear the big three today, they're not referencing, the mid to early 2000s best-selling manga in the Shonen Jump magazine. A lot of people use it as a term to try to say these are the best three, the most popular three anime. And I think that is just a far cry from the truth. Well, none of them are terrible shows. They definitely don't hold up to a lot of other shows that exist. I don't think that the current meaning, the way it's used, I feel is a little out of place.
Yeah, I agree. Especially if you just look in that whole time frame, like 80s to 90s anime, there were certain standards that have been a lot higher nowadays. I think the quality and the content of the stories are a lot better nowadays than they were back then. Granted, that being said, those three are still good, and we're not saying that they're not. I thoroughly enjoy One Piece, even though I'm only about halfway through it right now. But uh, I'm not a big fan of Naruto. It, especially seeing most of the original Naruto can be thrown out, and you could just watch Shippuden, and you'd be fine. I haven't watched Bleach, so that one's more on you, Jay. So you may have to talk
Yeah,
about that.
I mean, bar One Piece, both the other two shows in the big three, at least in terms of their anime, obviously, are riddled with filler.
Yeah,
And in my opinion, not very good filler. Unlike something like One Piece, who I think is probably the most quality of the three, the show has the least amount of filler, although it does seem to hyperextend some of its content to
yeah,
produce more episodes for less, which is fine. Um, but I do believe that I love Bleach. It's very nostalgic for me as a
yeah.
show. But like Vin said, it's not held to the same quality as shows are today. Even just look at the newest season of Bleach that is airing or just finished airing, Thousand Year Blood War. You can even see that there is a huge increase in quality because of the standards have gone up. But it's been really great to see.
Yeah. And it, my biggest problem too is like in Shonen Jump, that time frame. The big three is just the manga. It's not taking into account the anime because the anime came out later, not much later, but it's not why they're called the big three. Um, we have other uh, anime or not sorry manga that came out in Shonen Jump that I think are better quality, but because of the sales, didn't outperform them. Um, but I would consider them better than the big three, like the Hunter or Hunter X Hunter, depending on which way you say it. Far superior than Naruto at the least. You could probably make arguments for the other two. I think it's so much better than Naruto, but because of the creator's health, it wasn't shown weekly, and like there was uh, big spurts of time where like issues didn't go out, and it's disheartening because I like it so much more, and it came out that same time frame as the other three.
Yeah, and I think even in terms of sales, I think it did better than at least one of the shows in the big three. Obviously, not One Piece, best-selling manga of all time. Um, but I know that
Flex.
at least during the time where, like, the era where they were coined the big three, I think Hunter x Hunter actually was selling better than either Naruto or Bleach.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just sales; it had to do with consistency, like Vin said. So, but I think that the way that people have turned the literal what the big three were, the three manga, into now being the three best anime, or the three most important anime, I feel like something has been lost in translation, and I feel like there's a lot of issues with the culture surrounding the big three. It's a very gatekeepy concept for some people.
Yeah.
The classic, oh, you haven't seen One Piece, you're not a real anime fan.
Yeah. Or same goes with Bleach or the Naruto. I've seen them even used in like, the, and I hate to say this, but like even like against like women, like, you can't be a fan of anime. The big three are are for boys. You can't watch this. And it's annoying, really.
Yeah, no,
And
obviously that is not the norm. Not everybody's out
yeah,
there using the big three to specifically target women. And there are people out there that don't use it to just as a gatekeep factor.
yeah,
But there are a good large amount of people who hold the big three in such a high regard that to them, if you don't watch it, then you don't like anime or
yeah.
you're not a fan. And this it's an issue.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing that up. I should have said that too. Like this is really realistically a niche group of people who are doing this. However, they're the loudest. Like
Yeah, it's always it's
anytime
the
someone
vocal
says big
minority.
three, yeah, anytime someone says the big three, they immediately jump at your throat, and it's not. Realistically, I think it's an outdated concept, and we either need to update it to mean something new, like like Anime News Center is trying to do, right? Which I don't find that a bad thing, because realistically, those three shows, I don't want to say this, uh, they're huge in the Americas. Like they really are what they're bringing a whole slew of new generation anime watchers, and like I love to see it. Like me going on 600 and what 98 I think I'm at right now, different anime watched, that gives me a whole new people, like spread of people to show some of my favorites to. And um I think if maybe we could update the big three every year, I think that'd be like a good idea, depending on how big they get. Like hands down, you can't argue that Attack on Titan, um, Demon Slayer, and Jujutsu Kaisen brought in a huge amount of new people into being weebs.
So I if you ask my personal opinion on what should be done with the big three, like should it be changed? I personally think the concept should be dropped as a whole. Um, because obviously, you could look at the very objective numbers that shows like Jujutsu Kaisen, Attack on Titan. Demon Slayer they pull in, and it's there. Like, they are popular, they are big. But again, with the way that people use the the term, again, they're trying to say these are the three best. And while I do think there are objective ways to look at media like anime and say, okay, these have objective qualities that make them superior to others, actual like enjoyment and quality to the person is such a subjective thing. Um, just because Jujutsu Kaisen has great animation, great action, that doesn't mean that that is enjoyable for somebody, right? It's not everybody likes those actiony shows.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, what would you consider your big three? Like, if we were hands down
my
right
big
now,
three,
what would your big three be?
my big three is weird. I would consider my big three Code Geass, Nanan Biori, and honestly, the third could be a toss up on any given day. Right now, if you ask me at this exact moment, it would be Welcome to Demon School of Rumakun.
Yeah.
Those would be my big three. Those would be my big three.
Yeah.
But those shows, one, they're so wildly different in terms of content and quality.
Yeah.
In animation, I think they all have great writing. They all have great characters, but like they're so wildly different in terms of concept that like I couldn't go to somebody and say these are the big three and expect them to like all three.
Yeah.
And by extension, it'd be wrong for me to say, well, since you don't like one of these three anime, you're not a real anime fan.
Yeah. No, I agree. My big three would be Steins Gate, Violet Evergarden, and I'd probably say Clannad, or Code Geass. Uh, and the underlying reasoning is that each one of those made me feel like they made me feel stuff, man. They pushed me emotionally, which not like a lot of Western media hasn't done. Um, like when I first like Clannad was the first one to ever make me cry. Like I bawled like I was a baby watching Clannad, and like that. Not much stuff does that. Like it's hard. But yeah, no,
So
I'm sorry. Go on.
no, it's okay. I was just gonna say that again. So I just wanted to reiterate my point that I don't think there's a place personally in anime for the big three. And now, again, not to say that to be offensive, because when I say the big three right now, I'm not talking about Bleach, Naruto, One Piece. I'm talking about the concept, the concept of what the big three has become. I don't think there's a place for it. Um, Anime again is such a wide, broad spectrum of content. There are so many different people with so many different likes and dislikes that I think it would be impossible to coin three anime as being the three must-watch anime. Obviously, I believe there are must-watch anime out there. Anime that everybody should at least give a try. But I don't think I could ever sit here and say that these are it.
Yeah,
These are what you need to watch. I don't think that exists. I don't think it should exist. I think people should just be allowed to enjoy anime.
yeah. No, I agree. I I'm not opposed to the idea of the big three. Like I said before. But it really needs to be changed. It needs to be updated. There needs to be a set of rules that I think we can, as a whole, establish and standardize what accounts to be the big three. Um, I don't mind keeping the big three for like the '90s because they were the biggest, out there. Um, One Piece is still going,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I mean, like we don't need to erase the big three, like
yeah,
the big three. That doesn't need to be erased. Um, One Piece, Bleach, Naruto, they deserve to be immortalized for what they are,
yeah,
for what they did, for what they accomplished.
and that's it.
Um,
It shouldn't go
and
any
that's
farther
it.
than that.
And I think that's where it stopped. That's where it should stop. I don't think that it should be, I don't think it should be this big talking point for, what anime is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, tell us what you think the big three should be, or you think, like Jay, we should just throw it out as a whole. We'd love to hear what you your thoughts on it. Say goodbye,
Bye.
Jay. Later.